Hey folks, in today's video we will learn how to install and configure vCenter Server. So as you can see, I have a list of directories with all the necessary apps for my virtual environment. I will start off at vCenter Server, and you'll notice there's an ISO. So once the ISO is selected, right click on it, and then you're going to select Mount as your first option. Then you'll see a series of subdirectories from the ISO. Key thing to note, you are going to go to the VCSA directory, double click there, and you will notice there is a VMware client integration plugin. So you need to run that prior to the installation of the VMware vCenter Server. So I've already done that, but I just wanted to point that out. So I'll come out of that directory, and the one thing that I want to suggest is the next step would be VCSA setup. For whatever reason, Google as well as Firefox, they decided to not support the installation via their web browsers. And so the best way to do this would be via Internet Explorer, and I'll model that momentarily. What I do want to share with you is that via Firefox there is a utility that you will need to access, and I'll take you there right now. This is Cloud and then the Mozilla Firefox start page. So the utility that I'm mentioning, thought I selected it. Nope. Okay. Let's go here. Okay. It's the Firefox Extended Support Release. So that is one of the first steps prior to the client integration plugin. So you go here first. Hopefully, more than likely, you are operating under a Windows 64-bit operating system, and then you would select your language, download it, and install the actual Firefox Extended Support Release. Once you're done with that, then the next step would be to go to the client plugin. That's in the event if you select the VMware client integration plugin first and it errors out, then you'll go here to Firefox. So I've gone through these steps already, and what I'm going to do next is the VCSA setup. Notice I'm right clicking, then I'm going to select open with, and just through trial and error, Internet Explorer seems to be the browser that does not have an issue with this installation. So here we go. Okay, so as you can see in the banner up here, I'll just drag this down so you can read. It's just prompting you to install the client integration plugin, as I mentioned, and I've done that already. So this site is using the VMware client integration plugin. Do I want to allow the access? Absolutely. Let's allow it. And then that takes us to our installation screen. So I'm going to select install. I will accept the license terms and agreements. And it's going to ask for a IP address as far as the target server or a fully qualified domain name. So the target server is going to be our ESXi host. Now, I'll show you a quick IP scheme document momentarily to show you how I've got things set up, so that'll help you with your virtual network environment. Okay, so here is the ESXi host that we are going to connect vCenter Server to. You'll notice the IP address is 192.168.245.4. So now I'm going to go back to the installation wizard and input my IP address. What's my username? So the default root and whatever password you deem necessary for class purposes. Root 123 will be the default password. Key thing to note before proceeding, and this is why I wanted to show you that the host was up and running, make sure that the host, or the ESXi host more specifically, is not in lockdown mode or in maintenance mode. And as I just displayed to you earlier, the host is up and running and ready to interact with the installation of vCenter Server. And this is just saying it's an untrusted SSL, but we know this is our own personal virtual environment, our virtual infrastructure, so we're going to say yes. So now we're going to name our appliance. So we'll label this vCenter Server, and then I'll make this 2. The OS username is root, and you have some requirements as far as a password goes. So basically I'll capitalize the R in root, and then I'll add an exclamation point at the end, and then I'll confirm that as well. And looks like they match, and we're good to go. We're going to install the vCenter Server with an embedded platform services controller. We'll create a new SSO domain, and the notice now, this is for when you're logging in to the web client. So we're going to make this the same as before, capital R, and then the exclamation point after 123 in root. Just to keep things, the SSO or single sign-on domain name will be vsphere.local. And then we'll make this lab 2 because I've had a previous installation of the Vsphere vCenter Server. I'm making unique names, so we're going to proceed on. Oh, looks like I can't have any spaces. That's why it was an invalid name. We'll stick with the default, which is tiny. And our data store will be the default one. Quick note, when you are installing ESXi, I would recommend the virtual machine storage or hard drive space should be 80 gigs and larger, and if not, you're going to have to add in, you'll go through this installation, you'll find out that there's not enough storage space, and then you'll have to add an additional hard drive and ramp up the storage, and then go through this process all over again. And we're 7 steps in, so that's something that'll save you some time. You'll also want to enable thin disk mode. So this next prompt here is the configuring of the database, and it's referring to a PostgreSQL embedded database, and we're going to select that as the default. And basically, PostgreSQL is a powerful open source object relational database system. So just a little information there. If those of you who are interested in database concepts, you can feel free to do a Google search on that. So you'll notice the network will accept the defaults VM network. The IP address family is IP version 4, and the network type is static. So now it's time for us to assign our IP address to the actual vCenter server. And I've been installing a few servers, so this last octet could be whatever it is that you want to provide it, as long as it's unique. You don't want to have any IP conflicts. They would recommend that we have a fully qualified domain name, but you can just use the IP address in the previous field. Subnet mask, we know we're going with a class C subnet. The network gateway is 168.2. Okay, and then network DNS servers, I'm just going to go with 8.8.8.8. We don't have any DNS servers as of yet. We will select the synchronized appliance with the ESXi host, and we will also enable SSH. And it's just saying, hey, we would prefer a fully qualified domain name, but you put an IP address in its place, and that's fine, and you can proceed on. And this is just the customer experience improvement program. I opt out of that. That's totally your choice. And then this is our little summary page, giving you that last second prior to committing all of your settings before moving forward, and just review that you're happy with your configuration settings, and then you can hit finish. Okay, this part takes a little while, so I'm going to pause for the cause, and when we get to the point where we have successfully installed, I'll show you what the install or successful installation screen looks like, and then we'll move on with the video. Okay, so we're going to attempt to install the vCenter Server appliance once again. I'll accept the license terms and agreement, and we're going to specify the host that we want to install or connect our vCenter appliance to. So just so you can see, the host that I'm selecting is host number 2. It's the 192.168.245.4. Okay, 245.4. Okay, so okay, username, root, password. Okay, hit next. And they're just verifying that it's not in maintenance mode or locked. While it's validating, I was just double checking to confirm that. So the appliance name will be VCenter Server 2. This name already exists. Interesting. Let's try this. Oh, we'll just try 3. Okay. OS password, root with a capital R, 123 exclamation point. Next, install vCenter Server with embedded platform services. Create the new SS domain, administrator, and the password, we'll keep it the same. And then vsphere.local, I'm going to put 2 just for the, okay, I'll try it again. And then the SSO site name, lab 3. Appliance size tiny. This is where we'll attach it to, the data store. I may need to attach it to a second data store, we'll see. Yeah, like I said, insufficient disk space for deployment. So I'm going to cancel this, and then I'm going to go back, add an additional